We talked briefly about what's going on in Louisiana yesterday, but I want to provide a little bit more of a complete picture. And Louisiana is not the only state. I mean, we've talked in the past what's going on in Kansas. Kansas has been in dire financial straits, has had to cut all sorts of services, usually for the most vulnerable in the state, because Sam Brownback decided to use Kansas as a little experiment to see if conservative principles when it comes to revenue works. And that is, of course, if you cut the taxes of the wealthiest people in the state and of businesses, well, then, of course, they're going to want to do more business there, and all of it will trickle down. It will shower down upon them like gold. It will be a golden shower upon all of them. Well, in Kansas, we know that has been a dismal failure. We know Oklahoma, which has been cutting taxes for 5 or 6 years, maybe for 10 years now, under both Democratic and Republican governors, more aggressively under Republican governors. And they thought, wow, this fracking boom, this is going to go on forever. How could this ever possibly end? It'll never end. Well, it turns out, yeah, it can end. And it seems to have ended for them. Wednesday morning, this morning, House of Representatives in Oklahoma, the state House of Representatives, agreed to a bill that will cut 111,000 Oklahomans, most of them women, from Medicaid. They are single, non-disabled parents. The move is going to save the state an estimated $130 million a year. Oh, incidentally, as of this year, wealthy people in Oklahoma save 0.25% on their taxes. Congratulations. Oh, for all you single women out there, perhaps maybe with parents who are not disabled, sorry about your health insurance. Unbelievable. Now, of course, they're going to end up losing. They're going to save $130 million a year. They're going to lose $203 million in a federal grant. This is how Republicans work, which I guess it would make sense, right? Because if their theory is, if we cut revenue in the form of taxes, we're going to get more tax money. There's no reason for them to believe that if we save $130 million, it's okay to lose $203 million. Had the Republican government, government, I should say, accepted the Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Care Act, these people would have been covered to the tune of 100%, I think, at this point, under Medicaid. But let's move to Louisiana. Washington Post reported the other day, state of Louisiana has gutted university spending, cut 30,000 employees, furloughed others, slashed the number of child service staffers, including those devoted to foster family recruitment. Young abuse victims, for the first time, were spending nights at government offices because they can't find foster homes. Even after all that, Bobby Jindal left the state in such a devastated shape that the new governor of the state, John Edwards, Democrat, who's been able to destroy the state apparently in 3 months, according to conservatives, said despite all of those cuts, Louisiana still needed nearly $3 billion to just maintain its regular services over the next 16 months. The State House is supposed to figure out a solution by today. They, of course, don't want to raise taxes. But just giving you a sense of what led to this. Jindal, during his 8 years in office, reduced the state's revenue by offering tax breaks to the middle class and wealthy. He also created new subsidies aimed at luring and keeping businesses. Well, they were very effective at luring and keeping businesses. But they didn't deliver any economic growth. Louisiana has doled out $210 million more to corporations in the form of credits and subsidies than it has collected from them in taxes. It is a net loss for the state. Jindal declined comment for this story, incidentally. The way that, and this is the way they do this, right? How did Jindal cover this up? Well, it was fairly easy. He cut taxes in the wake of billions of dollars of federal money that came in after Hurricane Katrina. After that money started to run dry, instead of raising taxes back up to get revenue, Jindal relied on one-off fundraising methods. The state sold assets, parking lots, farmland, all different ways they could perhaps raise money on a regular basis. It cleaned out all the money from the rainy day funds, including one intended to build reefs for marine wildlife. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, it's not like there's any type of flooding problems in Louisiana. It's not like you'd want there to be natural barriers to major storms that might come in. I wouldn't worry about that. And then, of course, as the oil business bottomed out, Jindal was sitting there basically with his pants down around his legs, but was on the campaign trail. And now I guess he just goes off and becomes, I don't know, is he like a BP lobbyist now? Do we know yet where he's landed?
I don't know what his lobbying shop is yet. But
Unbelievable.
That's obviously what he'll do.
Total devastation of an economy and of the people who relied on government services in the name of tax cuts for the wealthy and for corporations. And yet they go to this well time and time again. And it's usually the same story. I'll be out of town before this happens. And I can go on the campaign trail and say I cut taxes. I imagine we're going to see this with other Republican states as well. But, it just takes time for things to catch up. But then it's just, you're just looking back in the past. You're stuck in the past.
And it's always, as we always point out, it's a feature, not a bug. I mean, in these policies are succeeding in many respects with what they're actually designed to do.
Right. It gives an opportunity
massive
to come in.
top-end tax cuts, redistribute assets over to the private sector and campaign contributors, and starve and hollow out the public sector. The policy usually has the results of what it looks like. It rarely has like a magical side consequence, which is like the whole trickle-down argument. It looks like we're giving everything to top-end earners and corporations, but magically it benefits everybody.
Well, really. It's just basically a redistribution plan. That's all it is. I mean, ultimately, This is going to come from on the taxpayers' backs or on the citizens' backs in one form or another. I'm going to give up my health insurance. I'm going to have no health insurance so that wealthy can have tax cuts. I mean, that's all basically it is. It's a redistribution. They still get the same benefits out of society that has made them rich. I just don't get the benefits out of society that provides me with, low-end health insurance. That's basically what it is.